Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Gabe.
It's Caleb.
And today you are tuning in to another episode of the Positive Outlook podcast. And Caleb, what are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about gratitude and perspective. But first, what does every great episode start with?
Every great podcast, Positive Outlook podcast especially, starts with a question of the day.
All right. Now mine's pretty specific today, but if you had to put your life in terms of seasons right now, what season would you say you're in?
You know what's funny? Um,
What's that?
so I just recently did that Tony Robbins event, right? And in that
hmm
event, one of the things he covered was seasons. So, um, I'm not sure if we're following the same like path here, if we have the same idea, but I'd say I'm in winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. Well, winter, summer, it kind of depends on how you look at it. Either way, things just keep coming at me and I'm just like bundled up taking it, learning from everything and then trying to grow from it. So I think winter because I want to say that spring is next, right? That's what I want to say. I want to say I'm taking everything that I can right now, what the challenges, the hurdles, the adversity, and I want to say I'm growing from them and I will soon sprout. That's my opinion. What about you? What season are you in?
I would say I'm entering spring. I'm
Nice.
kind of defrosting still from some of the freezing up of the big challenges and everything in life.
Mhm.
But I've had time to process everything. I've created a plan. And if you know me, I enjoy creating plans. I think creating plans is super beneficial and super helpful.
Mhm.
It's important to keep in mind that that plan isn't going to go to plan.
Right.
But, anyways, I got a plan. I got things in motion. I'm ready to attack the challenges that are facing me in my life right now. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling this growth beginning. It hasn't, I wouldn't say fully gone into effect yet, but we've definitely hit that shift around point. We've digging in our heels, and we're going to get it.
Amen. That's what it's about. Awesome. All right. I love it. I love that question. It's funny. So yeah, so were you thinking like the same, I don't know, the same cycle, I guess, is like the meaning of each. I guess we can talk to the audience about this too, right? So
Yeah.
like I guess where does your season start in your life, right? Quote unquote, where do they start?
Um, where do they start? I mean, what do you mean exactly?
Yeah, well I guess I don't know. So I think the way that Tony Robbins kind of explained it is like summer is like it's hot, it's hard to get through. You kind of just suffer your way through it. And then you've got fall, which is like cooling you down. You're kind of coming away from all the challenges. And then winter, more challenges are being thrown at you. You haven't really had time to like sprout and become beautiful from it yet. So now you're like getting your second wave of challenges, right? And then you're really like having to dig in, having to face every challenge. And then spring is where you grow. So I don't know like if most people are like at a baseline and what the baseline season would be if that makes sense.
Okay. See, I was thinking pretty much the same thing for winter and for spring. But then I was kind of thinking more like summer is where you're kind of cruising off of the growth and off
Mm,
of the like the work you put in the spring and whatever. And then fall is kind of where it starts to like become ready for the next challenge. You're kind of
mhm.
transitioning into all the challenges that are then winter again kind of thing.
Okay.
So pretty similar but a little different just as far
Yeah.
as like but I definitely could understand how summer is like also like just grind through it. It really
Yeah.
just depends. But I don't know. I like both. So
Yeah. But ultimately, I mean, summer's great. Like, who cares if it's 90 degrees out if you're in the water? You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
beautiful. Just enjoy it. And I think that's ultimately that could be our good conclusion point here for the question of the day. Is no matter what season you're in, there's always something to be grateful for. There's always something about that season that you can learn from and grow from. Right.
And just just like real seasons in real life, there's always like you could complain about the snow, or you could go ski.
Mm-hmm.
You could complain about the heat, or you could dive in a pool.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of the same idea there.
Yeah. When life gives you lemons, right? Make
hmm
lemonade. That's so corny. All right. So anyway, getting into today's episode, we're going to talk about gratitude. I really wanted to dive into the things we take for granted every day, because I'm not sure if any of the viewers know. If you're from this area, you will know. But we just went through a ridiculous ice storm, like one of the craziest storms I have ever been through. And there's people who have lived here their whole lives; they've never seen anything like it. But ultimately, I guess I'll go into like a little bit of a storytelling here for a little bit, just to explain what's been going on for like the last week here in my hometown. So ultimately, Saturday night, I had a couple of my friends over. We were all just hanging out, having fun, and we started to get some freezing rain, which is not uncommon up here. We're like, oh, freezing rain, whatever, it is what it is. And we're getting all like the storm alerts, like, oh, make sure you have all the necessities for the upcoming days. And everyone's always like, what? It's northern Michigan. We're used to just getting pummeled. I'm not worried about it. So we started to hear like trees falling, and the rain was really heavy. We're like, oh, this is so cool. So we all go and stand out in my driveway, and across the street there's like a whole forest, and we're just watching trees go. I've never just watched just trees just boom one after another boom. I'm like, this is the coolest thing. We're all like men out there. We're like, yeah, this is so cool. Destruction. We're all just having a good time. And then my power goes out, and that was like 5:30, 6 p.m. on Saturday. So I'm like, power went out, whatever. It is what it is. Like, I'll go to bed. I'll wake up in the morning. The power will be back on. So all my friends leave. I go to bed, and I don't really prepare for anything like this because I don't know. You kind of deal with power outages being up here. Nothing prolonged. So it's just a short
Mhm.
thing. But so the power goes out, and I wake up the next morning, and my house is terrible insulation. It's freezing outside. I wake up, my house is like 45 degrees, right around there, and I'm cold, man. I'm really cold. So I'm sitting there, and I wake up. I let my dog outside. I go outside. There's just total destruction around me, right? Trees are down everywhere. There's trees on power lines. Power poles are snapped in half. I'm like, what in the world happened? And then I get in my car because that's where the heat is, right? And I warm up a little bit. And the car is where I will be spending the next 2 days because I didn't have power, water, food for a prolonged time. And I ended up getting it back, but most people didn't. And they still don't right now. A lot of people still don't have power. They don't have Wi-Fi. I'm very, very grateful, very lucky to have what I have. But yeah, our town got totally obliterated, man. Like they closed off most roads. It was a state of emergency. We had a stay at home order, like we couldn't leave, everything like that because they were trying to clean up the roads. There's down power lines everywhere. There was like 400,000 people that lost power. It was insane, and they're still dealing with it now. And they're still cleaning up. But something I realized is about 3 days later, my power comes back on. And I remember when I pulled into my driveway and I saw like my curtain was open a little bit and I looked inside and my lamp was on. And I was like, "What?" I'm like, "My lamp's on?" So I get out of my car, I take my dog out of my car and we both run inside and it was warm. It was warm inside, and I'm wearing the whole time. I didn't change my outfit. I didn't change my outfit for 3 days. It's disgusting. I know. I had a hoodie under my crew neck, a beanie on under the hoodie, my coat, and then jeans and these thick wool socks. And I was wearing that for 3 days straight. And I was like, I get inside and I'm like, it is warm. And the first thing I do, I go and turn my shower on. I'm like, I have hot water. I'm like, this is a miracle. This is so awesome. I rip off all my clothes, jump in the shower, I get all clean, I come back outside, I put on a pot of coffee, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I am in heaven. I've never experienced anything so great before. And all I had was power and hot water. But I haven't had it for so long. And I think it's so important to take that step back and be like, what do you have in your life that's just given to you every day that you take for granted? Things that I
Mhm.
would have killed for every single one of those days, every single one of those nights. And there's people out there and it's not even just shelter or hot water or food. Could be your health, could be a relationship, could be family, could be friends that other people have lost out on and would kill to get that back. And you have it today and you don't appreciate it. So if we could take that step back and just be like, "Hey, look what I have. Look what I'm capable of doing today just because I have the ability to do. I have the capacity inside myself. Let's be grateful. Let's remember what we have and let's conquer with that."
And it's like the song "Let Her Go" by Passenger. You know that
Yeah,
song?
I do.
Never miss the sun until it starts to snow, and it's so true, and it's difficult. It's difficult, but I think it's a super important task because when you can start from a place of gratitude, everything else is now somewhat uplifted, even if it doesn't seem noticeable.
Mhm.
It seems like a very repetitive theme in life is that a lot of the most important things seem to either not matter or seem unnoticeable until they are.
Absolutely.
And you can just tell the difference between someone who works from a centered place of gratitude versus not. You can tell, excuse me, sorry. Wow. double burp. You can see in their demeanor, you can see in the way they do everyday activities, you can see in the way they treat other people. You need to understand how much there is to be thankful for at all times. And sometimes that's kind of like the painful message to hear once in a while. It's
Mhm.
almost like, in my opinion, being told to floss because it's like, I know, I'll do it. I need to, but it's not something I necessarily want to hear all the time.
Mhm.
But I really think it needs serious emphasis on the amount of things that we have to be grateful for is crazy.
Yeah, it's incredible. And then, the second perspective of this last week in that situation is, remember what I said earlier about how no matter what season you're in life, there's always something to be appreciative for. There's always something to look for gratitude in. And that first day I lost power, my sister called me, right? And she said, "Hey, Brendan, which is my brother-in-law, has this little like Coleman propane grill, right? So if you want, we can cook food." Well, my power was still out, so I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna bring over some food from my fridge, and we can just cook it up. We'll make it for breakfast." So I just brought over some eggs, some bacon, some steak, and we were just cooking it up, just having a good time, right? So it was my sister, and my niece and nephew, my brother-in-law, and we're all just hanging out, having a good time, laughing around. There wasn't a phone in sight, right? Like the like the old people say. It was great, and we were all just enjoying each other's company. And then my brother-in-law, he grabbed his guitar and he had a keyboard, like a piano, and so he got that out for me to play. So I was playing the piano, he was playing the guitar, and we were just doing that for like an hour or two. And I was like, man, I would kill for times like these. We're incredibly cold and the kids are miserable, but like other than that, this is great time for us to like all just come together and be here, be present. And so regardless of what was going on around us, we were just creating those memories, and it's something that I'll never forget.
And I think it's I wow, geez, I do think that it's important to connect without technology. I really wish that there was some sort of. Have you ever seen the movie Ready Player One?
Mhm.
They have like a one day of the week where the whole VR thing is just shut down.
Yeah.
Like no one can get on. They have to go outside and whatever.
Mhm.
I almost wish we had that with like iPhones. Like for 2 hours a day, we have downtime and no technology works,
Yeah.
just to like get people outside, get them to connect. Because you know that how people talk about when life's perception seems duller as an adult, and like part of it's science, where it's like I think there's some sort of part of our eyesight that actually does shift that processes color. But then the other part of it's the constant, and I mean constant dopamine highs we get from everything around us to
Mhm.
where things that are that are just mundane tasks just seem so much worse because we're so used to getting that little dopamine high off of our phone or off of TV and phone at the same time. I mean, some people are out here playing music, watching a game on their phone and watching a show all at the same time,
Right.
and it's like, not that there's anything necessarily wrong with that, but it's not good for your brain.
Yeah. Yeah, and I noticed that too, especially because I had, our service was down, like I was telling you. So we couldn't call anybody. It was very weird. It was very weird. Like it felt like um not so much like prehistoric, but before our time. You know what I mean? Like literally there was no point carrying a phone around. You couldn't make a phone call.
Man, you are aging us so much in this
I
in
know.
this episode.
There was no
We sound like
power. Yeah, right. Well, this is the part. This is like the part of like gratitude, right? Like we take everything for
mm,
granted, right? I can just call my mom whenever I want, call my dad whenever I want, but I couldn't here, and it just felt like apocalyptic, I guess is the better word for it. Just like everything, like, oh, where are the necessities? I don't know. And then you start to realize what your necessities are. It's like heat, or like shelter and water and food. That's it, right? But I noticed, because I wasn't always like connected on a device or anything like that, I had like more of that urge to go out and like do things and socialize. And obviously it was because my home was freezing. I'm not going to come home. Why would I do that? So I was just driving around all the time, and just like going and checking on people. I was driving down my street here, one of my main streets, and there was just this old guy, just had his arms crossed. He's standing in the middle of the road, just looking around. And I drive up to him, and there's a stay at place order. So really there weren't that many people outside, but I drive up next to him. I was like, "You see anything cool?" Like whenever would you just see someone standing on the side of the road and just pull up and like have a conversation with them? You know what I mean? But what else was I doing?
yeah.
So I pull up and I'm like, "Well, you see anything cool happening?" He's like, "Just a lot of trees falling down, a lot of destruction." And then we just started talking. I'm like, "Oh, where are you from? You from here?" And we just started talking for like 20, 25 minutes. But it was like that. like sense of community, right? And then still today, like people are out there, people are posting on Facebook, hey, if anybody needs yard cleanup, I'm happy to help. I know Joe and I were going to go around and do it, and just go around, help people cut up trees, move stuff out of the way because it's the right thing to do, you know. But it gets you out there and it gets you face to face with other people, and we are social creatures, and that's what we need. When we've always got our face buried in our phone or in the computer screen or whatever it is, we're losing that connectivity, we're losing that sense of who we are with other people.
Well, if you're not growing, you're shrinking, and that's something we say all the time on this podcast. But it's so inherently true. And there's so many aspects of my life that I've actually spent enough time not growing in that I've shrunk to the point where I have to get to work on it again. Whether it's you know general social skills, whether it's just like simple making my bed every morning, like always going back to the basics, just because sometimes I ignore I have missed calls that have been missed for too long, and it's time to
Hmm.
just turn around and face it. But it's so important to constantly be working on things like that. And I am a huge believer in phone downtime.
Hmm.
Huge believer. I think phones are great. They're obviously amazing tools. They help us in a lot of ways, but they are also major distractions.
Hmm.
Major distractions. They've affected people's like attention spans. I mean, it's crazy what phones have kind of done to us as a whole population.
Hmm.
Like I remember the first time I ever noticed how like big of a deal my phone was. I was like going to school back in like early high school, and I left my phone at home, and it like threw my whole day off. And I was just like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's wild to think about how much of an impact it's had, but we've also let it have that big of an impact on us.
Right. Yeah, I kind of want to say in defense of everybody who's listening right now, we've kind of been wired to receive instant gratification all the time. Like with Amazon, right? 2 day shipping, next day shipping, whatever it is, going to a web page and they're just making the internet faster and faster so it loads right away. Um, but it's things like that where when my power first went out and I just pulled out my phone, I'm like, I'm bored. I'm just gonna go on TikTok. Because my power didn't go out until like 5 or 6 p.m. So I was like, I still got something to do for the rest of the day. So I pull out my phone, go, try to scroll on TikTok, wasn't loading. I'm like, oh my gosh, you know. And then I go to call somebody the next day. Call wouldn't go through ever. I'm like, oh my goodness. But but it was when I realized like the essentials, the necessities, like literally just having heat and water. And as soon as I had that, I was like, I'm good. I'm not going to ask you for anything else. Please continue to provide me these. That's all I need, right? Like, Lord, listen to me. Listen to my heart. All I need is heat and water, and I'm good, okay? And then when it comes to technology, when it comes to my phone, when it comes to all the things that I take for granted every day, just leave those out of my life for now, as long as I can keep getting these. So there's obviously things that we prioritize much higher on the gratitude list, but like seriously, when I thought about it, when I would complain about like just a web page not loading fast enough, or when you go to the grocery store and your type of good that you're trying to buy, like the brand or whatever is out of stock, so you have to go with a subsidiary brand and you're upset about it. It's like, are you serious? Can you really be upset about that? Like you were able to go to the grocery store, and that's another thing, man. All the grocery stores were closed for like 4 days. So I was like, I don't know. I was eating like, South End gas station was running on a generator, cash only, but you could go in there and get like a hot chicken sandwich. And that was like a filet mignon for me. I'm like, I'm gonna hold on to this. I'm gonna tuck it in my coat on my way home and I'm just gonna worship
Yeah.
this burger. You know what I mean? So it's just I don't know. It gave me such good perspective, and I'm grateful for everything that I'm grateful for the minimal loss that I had, and I'm so grateful for the perspective it gave me.
And I do think that life has a funny way of reminding us of things like this once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Whether even if it's something as silly as like you're going on a road trip and you forgot a charger and your phone dies, and now you have to navigate without a phone, which I say all the time. That's the one thing that I'll go to my parents. I'll be like, "Man, how did you guys get around without phones?" Because without a GPS on my phone, I would be cooked.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
there's no way I'm getting from point A to point B by oh yeah, this road sign, take a right, take a left, take a right, and then yeah, no, it'd be rough for me.
Yeah. Yeah, man. We
But
we've just been given so much in our advancement in technology and everything. Like we have eternally amounts of things to just be grateful for. And I think we need to start focusing on that and not all the other BS that everybody's arguing about nowadays. it's just so annoying. Like, why is everybody so wrapped up in the bad when we could just take a step back and be like, I have my health, I have my family, I have my friends, I have technology, whatever it may be. You all have something to be so grateful for. Stop focusing on the negative and start focusing on the positive.
And you don't have to look at it in such a like anti-entitlement facet either, you
Right.
know? It's not necessarily like, "Oh, you should be so grateful." It's like just be grateful,
Hmm.
you know? Because we really do have, if you're lucky enough to have first world problems, even be in your top 10 problems, that is a beautiful thing right there. And what do
Yeah.
I mean by that? I mean, if it's not things that inherently need your efforts for survival purposes, if it's not something to that extreme extent and it's in your top 10 to 20, what do I mean by that? Picking a job. Is that a big deal? Absolutely, that's a big deal. But if you get the choice of which job you're going to, that is a first world problem because you know what I mean? You're choosing something to do, whereas some people don't have that
Hmm.
choice. Some people don't even, you know, their one job is to hunt and find whatever scraps they can. And obviously, if you go to any extreme, there's always a situation worse. But that's what we're saying here is instead of focusing on that, focus on what you have and just
Hmm.
be grateful. This isn't supposed to be some sort of comparison game. Just understand that the things that you have are amazing. They're
Yeah.
truly great. And we don't give them enough attention or gratitude almost ever. But the goal is to try to be as grateful as you can for everything that you were lucky enough to have.
Absolutely. Beautifully said. Well, I don't know. That about wraps it up for me. I don't really have anything else I want to say. Do you?
Guys, we're grateful for you guys. We just hit 1,800 subscribers.
Nice.
We're having fun out here. We're getting the ball rolling on episodes. It's a great time. Still taking episode requests. If there's anything you guys want to hear, hit us up on Instagram. Throw it in the comments on YouTube. I did see the request to return to Spotify. So you guys just gave me some very busy nights ahead because we're pretty behind on uploading episodes, but I will get back onto that and make sure we have those on Spotify for you guys. Um, Other than that, that's really all I had to say. Gabe, it's always awesome getting on and ripping out an episode.
Absolutely. Yeah, just remember, guys, be grateful. There's so much out there for you to be grateful for. And yeah, I mean, let yourself feel every emotion, right? Don't try to be like we have an episode on toxic positivity. Don't be falsely happy all the time. Allow yourself to feel, allow yourself to get it out. But ultimately, just remember that at any point in your life, no matter what you're going through, you can take a step back and just be eternally grateful. Just depends on what you focus on. So let's focus on the right thing moving forward.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Just be grateful. Just be grateful because you
Absolutely.
don't know how long you're going to have what you've got.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you've made it to this point in the video, if you made it this far, please make sure to like, subscribe, comment, say hi, share this with a friend, do whatever you want to do. But we appreciate you guys so much and happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Peace.